In a world where children are supposed to be cherished and protected, one man saw them as nothing more than a means to an end. Meet Mick Philpott, a master manipulator who used his children as pawns in his twisted game of greed and control. This is a story of how one man's insatiable hunger for fame and fortune led to the tragic demise of 6 innocent young lives. Mick Philpott was born in 1956 in Derby, England. On the surface, he seemed like an ordinary man, but beneath the facade lay a complex web of narcissism, psychopathy, and a complete disregard for human life. Philpott's toxic behavior was evident from the start, with a pattern of abuse that would haunt his relationships for years to come. At 19, Philpott charmed his way into the life of 15-year-old Kim Hill. But what seemed like a whirlwind romance quickly turned into a living nightmare. Philpott's controlling behavior, verbal abuse, and physical violence became the norm, with Kim often finding herself on the receiving end of his brutal outbursts. Philpott's violence was unpredictable and merciless. He would use any excuse to harm Kim, from accusing her of infidelity to punishing her for paying attention to a baby she was minding. The abuse was so severe that Kim would often lie about her injuries to protect Philpott, even going so far as to fabricate stories to avoid his wrath. In one chilling incident, Philpott broke Kim's arm and fractured her kneecap with a hammer. Another time he shot her in the groin with a crossbow because he felt her dress was too short. The list of atrocities goes on, but one thing is clear. Philpott's abuse was not just physical, but also emotional and psychological. In July 1978, Kim finally found the courage to send Philpott a breakup letter. But Philpott's response was far from ordinary. He went AWOL from the army, broke into Kim's home, and attacked her in bed, stabbing her 27 times with a 9-inch knife. As Kim lay bleeding, Philpott menacingly told her, "If I can't have you, no one else will." This was just the beginning of Philpott's descent into madness, and the lives of 6 innocent children would soon be caught in the crossfire. Philpott's greed and narcissism would eventually lead him to father 17 children with multiple women. But these children were not seen as tiny humans who needed his protection. They were mere pawns in his game of benefits and fame. In this video, we'll explore how Philpott and his accomplices took the lives of 6 young children, and what drove them to commit such a heinous act. The story of Mick Philpott is a chilling reminder that not every parent deserves a child. Join us as we delve deeper into the mind of a monster, and explore the devastating consequences of his actions. When Kim's mother intervened to stop Philpott's abuse, he turned his violence on her, stabbing her 11 times. Both Kim and her mother barely survived the attack, with Kim's mother, a nurse, crawling to a phone to raise the alarm despite being badly injured. Paramedics arrived to find Philpott on the stairs still holding the bloody knife. He told them, "I wouldn't bother, she's a goner. I'd done a good job on her." Kim actually died twice in the ambulance and on the operating table as surgeons battled to save her life. Philpott had slit her stomach open and stabbed her on the back, arms, and legs. She suffered collapsed lungs, a punctured bladder, kidney, and liver. During the trial, he lied and implied he stabbed her in self-defense, but all the evidence showed otherwise. Philpott was found guilty of attempted murder and grievous bodily harm. He was sentenced to 7 years and 2 months in prison, but was released after serving just 3 years and 2 months, due to good behavior. This early release was a slap on the wrist, and Philpott had no incentive to change his twisted ways. While in prison, he sent Kim letters expressing remorse and even proposing to marry her upon his release. This horrific attack left Kim traumatized, and she is still receiving counseling 4 decades later. Recalling her hellish life with Philpott, Kim added, "Do not say no to Mick Philpott, you don't say no to him, he doesn't understand the word." After his release from prison in 1986, Philpott married Pamela Lex and had 3 children with her. But his abusive behavior continued, with Pamela too afraid to report him knowing what had happened to his previous partner Kim. Pamela prayed that he would move on to someone else, which is what he did in 1993. Philpott began a relationship with a 14-year-old girl named Heather Keogh, and Pamela left him after discovering the affair. Heather ran away from her parents to be with Philpott, and they had 2 sons. But Philpott's abuse continued, with him beating her for not having a girl and teaching his older sons to be violent against her. Philpott's pattern of abuse and manipulation continued with his next partner, Mayreed Duffy, a 19-year-old single mother who had recently left an abusive relationship. He became her guardian angel, but soon revealed his true nature. Philpott also began a relationship with Lisa Willis, a 16-year-old orphan who was also a single mother. He groomed both women, using his charm and manipulation to control them. Lisa and Mayreed became close, confiding in each other and treating each other's children as their own. But Philpott's presence was always looming, controlling and dominating their lives. Philpott married Mayreed in 2003, with Lisa as the bridesmaid. From that year onwards, Philpott lived with both women and had 11 children in a 3-bedroom council house. Both women worked while he remained unemployed, collecting their earnings and government benefits. Philpott actively tried to have more children to stack up his benefit payments. He requested a large council house to accommodate his growing family, but was denied due to lack of availability. In 2007, Philpott appeared on The Jeremy Kyle Show, a program similar to The Jerry Springer Show. He defended his lifestyle and unemployment, claiming he couldn't get a job due to media coverage and his criminal record. Philpott became agitated when questioned about his parenting and job prospects, leading to an argument with the host Jeremy over his irresponsible lifestyle. Philpott introduced his wife Mayreed and his second wife Lisa Willis on the show, openly acknowledging his unconventional living arrangement. He claimed he didn't care what the public opinion was about his lifestyle and large family. Philpott also said he was prepared to divorce his wife to marry Lisa, and then divorce her simply so that she would not feel left out, because she did not share the Philpott family name. In 2007, Philpott appeared in an episode of a documentary series in which the then conservative MP Ann Widdecombe spent a week with him and tried to persuade him to change his lifestyle. She found Philpott 3 jobs, one of which was with a barrel-making firm. But he did not turn up for work on the first day, and the job fell through. The MP said that Philpott did not care about anyone, and that he used the word bitch to refer to both his wife and his mistress. Although many people could not understand why the women in his life accepted their lot or even desired it, the general opinion was that his partners got on well with one another. But behind closed doors, the tensions between the throuple had reached a boiling point. Philpott asked Mayreed to divorce him 3 times so he could marry Lisa. In 2010, Philpott was given a police caution for slapping Mayreed and dragging her outside by her hair. He wasn't nice to Lisa either, hitting her with a piece of wood, throwing a hot cup of coffee at her, and preventing her from leaving the house or speaking with any men. In February 2012, Lisa had finally had enough of the toxic situation she was in. She decided to leave Philpott, telling Mayreed she was taking her 5 children swimming, but instead moved in with her sister. 3 months after Lisa left, Philpott was still seething with anger and entangled in a rough custody battle over their 5 children. So he, along with his wife Mayreed and a family friend named Paul Mosley, planned to burn down their home with their own children inside and frame Lisa for it. The arson was scheduled for the day before a custody hearing between Lisa and Philpott. He wanted his children back, motivated by his greed for more benefit payments and the potential to get an even bigger council house. On May 11, 2012, at 4 o'clock in the morning, Philpott's plan to set fire to his house went tragically wrong. The fire spread much faster than anyone expected, resulting in the deaths of 6 children. Fire investigators reported that temperatures in the upstairs bedrooms exceeded 500 degrees Celsius, leaving no chance of survival for anyone in those rooms. Police confirmed that the fire was deliberately started with petrol under the letterbox, classifying it as arson, and officially stating that 6 children had been murdered. As the community struggled to come to terms with the tragedy, Philpott and his wife Mayreed spoke at a press conference, thanking people for their support and announcing their decision to donate Dwayne's organs to save the life of another child. Philpott expressed gratitude for the community's response and requested privacy for his family, asking that all questions be directed to the police. However, this press conference actually increased police suspicions. Philpott's behavior was notably inappropriate, including flirting with a female police officer. She claimed that he called her gorgeous and inferred he would like her to come back to his hotel. The police found forensic evidence linking the Philpotts to the crime, including a discarded petrol container and glove found near the house. In November, forensic investigators discovered that the clothes of the Philpotts and Mosley had petrol on them. For further information, they placed a recording device in the police vehicle and their hotel room. The recorded conversations revealed incriminating statements from Philpott, including him saying it was his fault they lost their children and family. The recording also captured Philpott watching Mareed perform a sexual act on Paul Mosley, their accomplice. Philpott was heard telling his wife, "I'm proud of you because you didn't want to do it." Philpott, Mareed, and Paul Mosley were arrested and charged with the murder of the 6 children. During the trial, it was revealed that Philpott had planned the arson attack to frame Lisa Willis and gain custody of his children. In April 2013, Philpott, Mareed, and Paul Mosley were found guilty of the murder of the 6 children. Philpott was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 15 years, while Mareed and Paul Mosley were sentenced to 17 years each. Philpott's manipulation and control of those around him had finally been exposed, and he would spend the rest of his life behind bars, a fitting punishment for the heinous crime he had committed. The trial heard that Mosley had been bragging to a number of people about being a suspect, including on internet dating sites. Whatever Mosley's role, it seems that Philpott was keen to keep him on side, and police believe coercion may have been involved. In December, Mosley's charge was reduced to manslaughter. The murder charges against Philpott and Mareed were also eventually downgraded to manslaughter. On April 2, 2013, the couple, along with Paul Mosley, were found guilty of manslaughter for the deaths of the 6 children. Philpott received a life sentence with a minimum of 15 years in prison, while Mareed and Paul Mosley each received 17-year sentences with a minimum of 8.5 years to be served. Mareed later appealed against her sentence, but judges ruled the original term reflected the immeasurable harm she had caused. Court of Appeal judges said petrol found on her clothes showed she had participated in setting the fire, which had not been a spur-of-the-moment plan. She had also lied after her arrest and continued to hide the truth during her trial. In November 2020, Mareed was released after serving half her term. She was eligible to be released on license and taken by convoy to a halfway house. Paul Mosley too was released from prison in May 2021 after serving half his sentence, but returned to prison in 2022 after breaching terms of parole. In November 2023 he was released again. While Mareed and Mosley are free, Philpott is still in prison, completing his minimum sentence of 15 years. Philpott was characterized as a monster, abusive to women, and exploitative of the welfare system, who viewed children primarily as a source of income. Psychologist Glenn Wilson described Philpott as clinically a psychopath and exhibitionist with antisocial personality disorder. What did you think of this horrific case and everyone involved? Do you think their sentences were too light? Philpott definitely got way too lightly for his attempted murder charge in the 70s. Do you think these deaths were preventable had the justice system been harsher back then? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want more videos like this, please be sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more true crime videos. See you in the next one.